and welcome to an art time-lapse video. In today's video I'll be drawing 3 different pictures that I put into one picture, but they're for the art RPG Dracostryx. So I'll be drawing like a little dinosaur fella and his rider, trainer, handler, whatever you want to call him. His name's Scott. So these are for his training, so he can become a better dinosaur, I guess. But this first image is the main one I wanted to do, where I wanted to have his handler kinda struggling. I was imagining like somebody trying to catch a chicken and you grab it by the legs and it starts flapping its wings and ends up in the sky, and that's happened to me before probably. I don't remember exactly. I used to love playing with chickens and messing with them and stuff. But so here I am drawing the Strix and the handler. I kind of mess up on these arms, so you'll see me redraw them later. I'm not happy with them at all. Like, I'm kind of happy with them at first, otherwise I wouldn't have left them alone. But then, like, I start to look at them and I'm like, oh, that didn't turn out right. There we go. Now I start to mess with them a little more, get them looking right. I find that one of the best ways to draw hands and arms is to draw where you want the hands to go first, and just connect the arms in whatever way they fit, really. Here I'm drawing the clothes. I decided to make him wear like these puffy kind of pants, kind of loosely stuffed into his riding boots. I had to look up references of riding boots, so you'll see me change things around. I'm not really like a fashionista or anything. I don't know much about clothing, so I had to look up a lot of references about this turtleneck sweater I have him in and his riding boots. Also, I would have looked up references before the hat, but thankfully I was sitting outside and somebody was wearing a hat, so I was just like looking at them. Not like a random person, it was my grandpa, but it was helpful to see somebody wearing a hat in real life while drawing a hat. Here comes the line art, and I actually had quite a bit of fun with this. I kind of love lining, but I also hate it, because sometimes it takes way too long. But I've found like a new technique to not make it take so long, which is just not zooming in and not caring if the lines don't overlap properly or whatever, because you don't really notice if you just look at the picture, especially after it gets shrunk down. Like, I'm working on a 4000 by 4000 pixel canvas, and it's gonna get shrunk down to 1200 pixels on one side at least. That's just how I shrink things down, but that's a lot of shrinking. So I also lower the resolution from 300 dpi to 72, so it's web compatible, or that's just what it'll end up being anyway. Now I'm coloring in. Even though Clip Studio Paint kind of has a gap filler when you color things in with the paint bucket, it isn't perfect, and sometimes it kind of messes up a little bit, so sometimes your gap is just too big. That image that's flashing in is my Strix's design import, or whatever you want to call it. I didn't draw it, I did color it in though, and I have some regrets because I think I chose a Strix. He was free, I didn't buy him, but I designed him myself, and I kind of regret it because his design is really complicated for a beginner like me. I've seen worse designs that I would, not worse, but worse to draw because they're so complicated. But I think that's one of the parts that took the longest. Also, pro tip, if you're gonna draw something with a complicated design, you should do it on a different layer than all your other coloring. Cause then you don't have to worry about the colors leaking out into the other parts of the drawing. So you should probably do every color on a different layer if you can handle it. I can't. I like to just paint on one layer, but it does help a little bit to have, at least if you're drawing something complicated like Rocky's design here, then you should do it on a different layer. Here I am coloring some of the line art just with a like a pale pink, just to spice it up a little. Since I don't use varying line weights, I like to at least color in the line art a little bit to make some parts pop out more and some parts not. This next drawing is actually the third of the sequence that I was planning on making, but I decided to do it second because I had the idea in my head and I thought it would be fun to draw. But challenging, because I'd probably drawn something like it before, but it's a kind of complicated pose, so I actually just crop it to make it a lot smaller because I didn't want to draw everything, like the legs and all that. The prompt for these images was to draw your Strix guy as a baby or an adolescent or something. I don't remember exactly what now, but to draw them as younger than they are, and have like them learning how to trust other Strixes or their riders or whatever. So I couldn't just have the one image of my trainer fighting with the Strix. So I decided to make it have a happy ending where the trader, he falls asleep because he stayed up all night with this nocturnal Strix. And now dawn is coming and he has fallen asleep. And the Strix finally trusts him because he's asleep and he can't really do anything to him when he's asleep, you know. I like the trope of an animal an animal that you're supposed to train, like just going crazy, but then when you finally wind down and you're like, man, I give up trying to train this thing, it comes to you and it's finally kind of tame. I think that's a fun trope. I think it's cute, so I decided to do that here. Hats are one of the hardest things for me to draw, even though I've drawn a lot of hats in my time. Like, probably too many. Even hats exactly like the one I drew in this picture. But I don't really think I got it consistent. I think I made the bill maybe too long in this picture, but I don't really care. I think it came out alright. Maybe he just has a long-billed hat. Here I am picking the colors from the last drawing, because even though I have it in the color history, I don't actually know which color goes where. That's one thing that's missing from Clip Studio Paint that I miss. Well, I've never actually used it before, but I've seen other people use it in their videos and pictures and stuff, but it's like, I don't know exactly what it's called. It's like in Paint Tool Sci, it's like a scrap piece of paper or whatever, and you can put your color palette on this, in this window, and color pick from it. So if you want to like mix a color, or you just want to have like a palette of all your colors organized, it's like a little scrap piece of paper to the side. And I think that's really cool, and I wish Clip Studio Paint would have it, but it doesn't. But I really like Clip Studio Paint, because, I don't know, I bought it on sale for like 20 bucks or something, so I thought that was a deal. Oh, here I am. This picture's a little bloody, because imagine trying to tame like a taloned bird. You're gonna get cut like that. Especially if you saw how sharp this one's talons are, and how he has like a big raptor claw. So I could imagine that cutting into him pretty deep. But it's all worth it in the end. One day I'll be drawing pictures of them together and not having a hard time. Maybe they'll have a hard time often, but I think it'd be fun if this trainer, he's not that good a trainer, and the Strix kind of has to lead him along. Maybe he's kind of nervous around such a big bird. And that's why he got one of the smallest ones. In fact, I think the Dracostryx that I picked out, I think it's one of the smallest. I think it's the second smallest. I don't know if that's official, but it's definitely not as big as some of the other ones. Like there's one based off of a vulture, and it's the biggest one, and it's like 20 feet tall or something. And I think Rocky here is only gonna be maybe 9 feet tall, maybe a little less. He's just gonna be big enough for the rider to ride him. Alright, and now I start on the third image, but it's the second image in the set. This is of the rider standing kind of defeated with the Strix, just like cradled in his arms, like you might cradle a chicken. I like to compare them to chickens a lot because they are birds, and we don't really have anything like a velociraptor alive in real life right now to base it off of. So I think a chicken is the closest, especially in size in this picture. I have some trouble getting the shoulders right, because, I don't know, it's, when you're not drawing something like just relaxed or whatever, it can be difficult to draw. Like I wanted him to have his shoulders up, kind of tense, and he's like bloodied and stuff from fighting with this little dinosaur. But the little dinosaur is calm now, so it worked out. He's all frazzled and he's just tired. He's done. I have a lot of trouble drawing his face though. For some reason I have a hard time. Even though like drawing a face from head on is probably supposed to be one of the easiest things to draw when you can draw people, I just have a hard time getting it like symmetrical to a point that I like it. You can see me redrawing it a lot of times here, and I think even at the end, like I'm not happy with the eyes because they look weird, they don't look right, and so I redraw them several times. And even now, I'm still not a little happy with it. And, well, I guess I am a little happy with it, but it could have been better. I love drawing dinosaurs and stuff. They're one of my favorite things to draw. Like dragons and dinosaurs. They're one of my defaults when I can't decide on what to draw. I'm like, I'll just draw a dragon for now, and it'll be my warm-up or whatever. So I had a lot of fun with these images because I had a solid idea, and I think I executed them well. I need to make some sort of reference sheet for this handler guide. There we go. I think that's the final iteration of the eyes there. So I do get them done. Again, just color picking because I couldn't remember what the colors were in my color history, and I didn't want to worry about it. Though I did notice at some point I start picking from the official Rocky picture, because I realized that just by picking the colors from the other pictures that I already drew, I might be playing like a game of telephone. Like, this is what I think it looks like and not what it actually looks like, which is why you reference things so that you know what they look like. I wanted to make him flushed because he's tired. Also, he is a little bloody, so. In the third image, he cleans up a little, but you know, if you get blood-stained clothes, then it's kind of hard to get the blood out of the clothes. Oh yeah, I wanted to mention, I actually wrote down a note. Each of these pictures took about an hour and 40 minutes to do, some more, some less. And the final part where I put all the pictures together, it only took about 10 minutes. Like this part here, it only took about 10 minutes. So in total, it took about 3.5 hours or 3.5 hours. And yeah. And it's sped up by 16 times the normal speed. Here I'm just adding some background circles. That one is a little purple and yellow to show that it's dawn now. And here are the finished pictures. I hope you liked this video. I hope you have a good day or night or whatever time it is. And I hope to see you in the next one. Here's the final picture. Right now. Come on. There we go. Don't make me a liar. Here's the final picture. It's a little whatever, but you know.